The most feared hitman in the known universe refused to kill a human, and it would cost him everything. When the notorious assassin Laros declined the contract to eliminate an Earth official, he never imagined it would turn the Pandronian monarchy and humanity against him. Laros earned his reputation through lethal precision and an unblemished record, but his clandestine history with humans changed him in ways even he didn't fully comprehend. Years ago, a covert mission forced Laros into an unlikely partnership with Will Bryant, an Earth agent. Confronting a mutual threat, they had to set aside their prejudices and work together to survive. The experience challenged Laros's long-held beliefs about human inferiority and the supposed supremacy of Pandronian society. Now, Laros's refusal to accept the assassination contract has put him in the crosshairs of both sides. The Pandronian matriarch, secretly allied with a radical human faction intent on war, dispatches elite killers to eliminate him. She leaks information painting Laros as a traitor, turning the human syndicate against him too. Caught between two species on the brink of interstellar conflict, Laros must confront the consequences of his past and decide where his loyalties lie. With deception threatening to consume him, he'll have to navigate a treacherous web of betrayal to uncover the truth, protect his human friend, and prevent a devastating war that could annihilate both civilizations. The clock is ticking, and the fate of billions hangs in the balance. In the shadowy depths of a Pandronian slum, Laros melted into the crowd, his trained eyes scanning for any sign of pursuit. The once pristine streets, now choked with debris and desperate souls, provided the perfect cover as he navigated the labyrinth of alleyways. Ducking into a dimly lit tavern, he slid into a booth across from a hooded figure. "What have you got for me, Jax?" Laros asked, his voice low and urgent. The informant leaned forward, his scarred face barely visible beneath the hood. "Word is the matriarchs put a price on your head, big enough to tempt even the most loyal of your kind." Laros grimaced, his suspicions confirmed. "And the humans?" "Same story. They're painting you as a double agent, a traitor to both sides." The weight of the revelation settled heavily on Laros's shoulders. He needed answers, and there was only one person he could turn to. Encrypting a message on his comm device, he reached out to Will Bryant, his former partner, and the only human he trusted. Akri. The neutral space station hung in the void, a beacon of uneasy truce between the warring factions. Laros docked his ship and made his way to the designated meeting point, his senses on high alert. As he rounded a corner, a hail of blaster fire erupted, forcing him to dive for cover. Zara, his former Pandronian comrade, emerged from the shadows, her eyes blazing with hatred. "End of the line, traitor!" she snarled, leveling her weapon at his head. Laros reacted with lightning speed, his own blaster leaping into his hand. The two assassins danced a deadly waltz, their weapons flashing in the dim light. Laros's superior skill and experience proved the deciding factor, and he managed to slip away, leaving Zara fuming in his wake. Unaware of the tracking device Zara had planted on his ship, Laros made his way to the rendezvous point. Will Bryant, his face lined with concern, was already waiting. "Start talking," he said, his tone brooking no argument. As they pieced together the fragments of the puzzle, a chilling picture began to emerge. Rogue elements on both sides, working to destabilize the fragile peace, a conspiracy that threatened to plunge the galaxy into chaos. A sudden explosion rocked the space station, alarms blaring in the distance. Zara and her team had tracked them down. Laros and Will exchanged a glance, a silent agreement passing between them. They had to get out, had to find the truth before it was too late. Racing through the station's twisting corridors, they barely managed to reach their ships before the Pandronian forces closed in. As they blasted into the void, the stars stretching into infinite lines around them, Laros knew that this was only the beginning. The hunt was on, and the fate of two worlds hung in the balance. Streaking through the void, Laros and Will pored over the encrypted data, the glow of the ship's console casting deep shadows across their faces. Will's brow furrowed as he analyzed the intercepted communications, his eyes scanning the cryptic messages for any hint of the conspiracy's true nature. "There," he said, pointing to a series of coded transmissions. "Nexus. They're the ones pulling the strings behind this whole mess. Laros leaned in, his gaze intense as he studied the evidence. We need more information, and I know just who to ask. Fingers flying across the console, Laros opened a secure channel, the image of a young Pandronian woman flickering to life on the screen. Arya, he said, his voice low and urgent. I need your help. The hacker's eyes narrowed, her expression guarded. You know my price, Laros. Protection. A way out of this life. Laros nodded, his teeth clenched. Done. Now tell me what you know about Nexus. As Arya's fingers danced across her interface, streams of data cascading across the screen, a chilling picture began to emerge. Nexus, a shadow organization, funneling resources to radicals on both sides, stoking the fires of war for their own twisted ends. We have to stop them, Will said, his voice grim, before it's too late. Following a lead to a remote asteroid base, Laros and Will infiltrated the facility, the eerie silence broken only by the hum of distant machinery. As they crept through the darkened corridors, the unmistakable sight of weapons crates and tactical plans confirmed their worst fears. Nexus was preparing for war, and the fate of two species hung in the balance. Suddenly, the sound of blaster fire erupted behind them, the searing heat of the bolts barely missing their heads. Zara and her team had found them, their weapons trained on the two fugitives with deadly intent. Laros and Will moved as one, their combat instincts taking over as they dove for cover. Blaster bolts ricocheted off the walls, filling the air with the acrid scent of ozone. They fought back with skill and commitment, their movements fluid and precise, but the odds were stacked against them. In a moment of brutal clarity, Zara's voice cut through the chaos, her words dripping with venom. You abandoned us, Laros, your own family. For what? To play hero with the humans? Laros faltered, the revelation hitting him like a physical blow. Zara, his sister, the one he had left behind in his pursuit of a different life. The weight of his choices, his past, threatened to crush him in that moment. Will saw the danger, saw the hesitation in his friend's eyes. Without a second thought, he lunged forward, shielding Laros from Zara's lethal shot. The bolt caught him square in the chest, sending him crumpling to the ground, his breath coming in ragged gasps. Rage and desperation surged through Laros, fueling his every move as he unleashed a furious counterattack. His blaster flashed, his strikes precise and deadly, until at last, Zara and her team lay defeated at his feet. Cradling Will's injured form, Laros faced an impossible choice. The evidence they had fought so hard to obtain could expose Nexus, could stop the impending war. But Will needed help, needed the advanced medical facilities of the Pandronian military outpost. With a heavy heart, Laros plotted a course for the heart of the society he had left behind, knowing that the price of saving his friend might be the very future he had fought so hard to build. The engines of Laros's ship whined as he pushed them to their limits, the stars blurring into streaks of light outside the viewport. Will lay motionless on the medbay cot, his breath shallow and ragged. Laros's hands tightened on the controls, his heart made as he made the decision that could cost him everything. The secret Pandronian military outpost loomed ahead, a gleaming fortress of metal and glass. As Laros transmitted the emergency landing codes, a squad of heavily armed soldiers surrounded the ship. Don't move, one of them barked as Laros emerged, his hands raised. Where's the human? He needs immediate medical attention, Laros said, his voice steady despite the tension coiling in his chest. The soldiers rushed past him, efficiently extracting Will from the medbay and whisking him away. Before Laros could protest, a stun bolt hit him square in the back, plunging his world into darkness. He awoke in a stark interrogation room, his wrists bound to the chair. The door hissed open, revealing a familiar face that sent a chill down Laros's spine. Commander Kroven, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Kroven's lips curled into a cold smile. It's been a long time, Laros. I must say I'm disappointed to see you fallen so far. Where's Will? Laros demanded, straining against his restraints. Kroven waved a dismissive hand. The human is being treated. Now, let's discuss more pressing matters. As Kroven spoke, Laros's blood ran cold. The outpost's alliance with Nexus, the monarchy's support for their warmongering agenda, it all painted a picture of corruption that ran deeper than he'd ever imagined. "Join us, Laros," Kroven said, leaning forward. "Your skills could be invaluable to our cause. Think of the power, the prestige." "No," Laros interrupted, his voice firm. "I won't be part of this madness." Kroven's face hardened, but before he could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. The door burst open, revealing Will, his chest heaving and a stolen blaster in his hand. "Sorry I'm late to the party," Will quipped, blasting Laros's restraints. The two friends fought their way through the corridors, Laros's lethal precision complementing Will's improvised tactics. But as they neared the hangar, they found themselves surrounded, a wall of Nexus operatives blocking their escape. Suddenly, the lights flickered, and the facility's systems went haywire. Security doors slammed shut, trapping their pursuers. Laros's comm device crackled to life, Arya's voice coming through. "I've got you covered," she said. "Now get out of there." They sprinted to Laros's ship, the engines already humming to life as they climbed aboard. As they blasted away from the outpost, Will turned to Laros, his face grim. "We need to warn the Alliance," he said, "before it's too late." Laros nodded, setting a course to rendezvous with Arya. The stars outside stretched into infinity, a reminder of the vast expanse they had to cross to save two civilizations from the brink of war. As they approached Arya's hidden base, Laros's sensors blared a warning. A massive cyber attack was underway, targeting the Alliance's communication networks. Kroven had made his move. "We're out of time," Arya said as they rushed into her command center, holographic displays flickering with data streams. "Nexus has locked down every official channel. We need to find another way in." Laros's mind raced, fragments of human and Pandronian tech knowledge coalescing into a daring plan. "We'll have to use both our species' strengths," he said, turning to his companions. "It's the only way to breach their defenses." As they worked feverishly to integrate their disparate technologies, Laros felt a spark of hope. For the first time, he saw the true potential of what humans and Pandronians could achieve together. The console beeped, signaling an incoming transmission. Zara's face appeared on the screen, her eyes burning with dedication. "You can't run forever, brother," she snarled. "I'm coming for you." Laros cut the transmission, his grit hardening. With Nexus closing in and time running out, he knew that the final battle for the future of both species was about to begin. Laros's fingers flew across the holographic interface, his mind racing as he integrated Pandronian encryption algorithms with human network protocols. Beside him, Arya's eyes darted between multiple screens, her hands a blur as she wove through layers of Nexus's defenses. "We're close," Will said, his voice strained as he leaned against the console. "I can feel it." A triumphant beep echoed through the command center. Arya's face lit up. "We're in. Nexus's core systems are exposed." But their victory was short-lived. The screens flickered, and Commander Kroven's face materialized before them, his lips curled in a cold smile. "Welcome to my playground," he sneered. The world around them shimmered and dissolved. Laros found himself standing in a sterile white room, surrounded by translucent walls of code. Will and Arya materialized beside him, their forms flickering like unstable holograms. "A simulation," Laros breathed, his hand instinctively reaching for a weapon that wasn't there. Kroven's disembodied voice boomed around them. "Let's see how well you fare in my little game." The room twisted and warped, transforming into a familiar Pandronian military base. Laros's old comrades emerged from the shadows, their eyes vacant and hostile. "Stand down," Laros commanded, but his words fell on deaf ears. The avatars attacked, their movements unnaturally fast and precise. Laros dodged and weaved, his combat instincts kicking in. He disarmed one attacker, using the stolen weapon to incapacitate two more. But for every opponent he took down, two more appeared. Across the simulated battlefield, Will grappled with a maze of shifting corridors, each turn revealing a new military protocol designed to ensnare him. His breath came in ragged gasps as he pushed through the pain of his injuries, his mind racing to outmaneuver the system. Arya's fingers danced across an invisible interface as she battled Nexus's evolving firewalls. Each time she breached a layer of security, a new one materialized, more complex than the last. "We can't keep this up forever," Will shouted, narrowly avoiding a hail of simulated gunfire. Suddenly, a familiar voice cut through the chaos. "Laros, over here!" Zara emerged from behind a virtual pillar, her eyes blazing with commitment. "I've got an exit for you, but we need to move now." Laros hesitated, years of mistrust warring with desperate hope. "Why should we trust you?" he demanded, deflecting another attack. Zara's expression softened. "Because you're still my brother, and I was wrong about you. Now come on!" With no other choice, Laros signaled to Will and Arya. They fought their way through the simulated chaos, following Zara to a pulsing portal of code. "This will get you to Nexus's central database," Zara explained hurriedly. "But hurry, Kroven's on to me." As if on cue, the simulation began to destabilize. Chunks of virtual reality crumbled away, revealing a void of raw data beneath. "Go!" Zara shouted, pushing them toward the portal. "I'll hold them off!" Laros locked eyes with his sister, a lifetime of unspoken words passing between them in an instant. Then he, Will, and Arya plunged into the swirling vortex of information. They emerged in a vast digital expanse, streams of data flowing around them like rivers of light. At the center stood a towering structure, Nexus's core. "There," Will pointed. "That's where we'll find the evidence." As they approached, Kroven's avatar materialized before them, his form crackling with malevolent energy. "You've come so far," he snarled, only to fail at the very end. The virtual world convulsed, reality itself seeming to tear at the seams. Laros realized with grim certainty that Kroven was prepared to destroy everything, including himself, to keep their secret. Time slowed to a crawl as Laros assessed their options. The evidence was within reach, but Kroven's attack would obliterate them all in seconds. Unless... "Will," Laros said, his voice steady, "take Arya and get to the core. Download everything you can." Will's eyes widened as he grasped Laros's intent. "No, there has to be another way." Laros shook his head, a sad smile playing at his lips. "This is the only way to ensure the evidence reaches the Alliance, to stop the war." Before Will could protest further, Laros shoved him and Arya toward the core. Then he turned to face Kroven, spreading his arms wide to channel the full force of the collapsing simulation into himself. "Run!" Laros roared as the virtual world imploded around him. The last thing he saw was Will and Arya's anguished faces as they vanished into the heart of Nexus's database. Then there was only light, searing and all-consuming, as Laros embraced his final act of redemption.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.